Hello, and welcome to About the Albums. Today we're talking about What Have We Learned, which, if you watched the last episode, you know that this is kind of the companion piece to the Pool of Creation. I recorded a bunch of stuff, and I just had all those songs out there, and then I decided, you know what? How about I take some of the best stuff I just think the best stuff of the songs that I'm singing, and then, kind of avoid the instrumentals. I'll just take those, put those on the Pool of Creation. So all the ones on here are ones I didn't think were as good, or were instrumental, but I still like them enough to want to, keep them. That's the kind of the mix we have here. So it could be good, or, it could be less good. The idea in my head of which was good and which was not as good, maybe it's changed over time, and maybe you'll disagree with it when you hear the stuff. Who knows? But it was all done around the same time, and I'm thinking that'll probably show. But let's jump in and see if that really is the case. Telling a Tale is kind of just a simple little piano piece. Not even really like a full song, I guess, but I always thought it was kind of neat. I played it a few times, and I think it maybe showed up on a few of the tapes that I did before, but it never really turned into like a full song, so I just kind of played around with that little piece for it as a fun way to kind of start off the album, and especially because I'm using instrumental stuff too, so it helps to kind of space things out to have it in the beginning. And as long as this is short anyways, and the explanation of that short song, I'll just mention this here because I forgot to mention it right away in the intro, and I'm not going to do another take. This came out in October of 2012, so that's when it came out. It's just a little bit after the last one. So maybe that's interesting. That's, I don't know. I should probably stop trying to put comedic bits in these because this is just supposed to be more informational, interesting, and I'm not that funny. They'll Come Around is kind of just about people thinking a different way than you, and just kind of eventually coming around to thinking that way, or understanding what you're saying, or something like that. Pretty basic concept, and I don't know, the song itself, musically, it's all like guitars, really. And I think there's like a harmonica tone in there too, I guess. But it's like, I don't know, I kind of liked the feel of it. It just kind of feels like, I don't know, it has a sense of wonder to it that I really like. It came out really cool, and it's a good one to kind of follow up as like part of like the opener, like because Telling a Tale was so short. This almost feels like the real opener, and that was just like a prelude to it a little bit. I don't know, it's just kind of an interesting way to be early on in the album. And it's just cool to create a feeling. I feel like I don't do that a ton, so I don't know, I liked that. Quest for Gold, instrumental, is the song Quest for Gold. Again, if you already saw about the albums on Generation, that's actually where I believe I first actually made the song Quest for Gold, I think. Although it might be on a tape somewhere. There's something similar. The names got kind of confused with Rough Water, and they kind of were interchanged for a while. But this song has since been changed, as far as I know, everywhere to Quest for Gold, so it's correct to me. And But I believe I made Quest for Gold in MTV Music Generator and was on Generation. And then I later kind of figured out the riff to play on my keyboard. And so I made this. So even though both of those are technically instrumental, there's also the version later, which I believe is on the album. I want to say it's on Gibberish. I should have looked this up before I started hitting this, but we'll get to it. When we get to it, you'll know, because we'll be at it. And on that one, I actually made words for it. So, like, it's all based on the same riffs. It's just that each one does something different. And I think that's also kind of interesting about them, is that each one does do something different. But they're all kind of about this simple idea of a group of pirates going on generic pirate adventures trying to find gold. They're on a quest to following this treasure map and finding gold, that kind of thing. Very generic, cliche pirate stuff in the form of song. And They Flow is, I think, it is an instrumental, but I think it's about kind of like the sands of time flowing, because I was sort of still a little fascinated and obsessed with this concept of like time and what it does and what it means in terms of life and whatnot. So I think that's what was going on here. When I listen to it now, it kind of makes me think of like logs floating down like a river or something, flowing on a river. But it's just kind of neat, and like the drums that I chose to use for it, and some of the tones. I think I got a little inventive with that to make it have a bit of a different sound than basing it more heavily. Like a lot of my other stuff was based more heavily on things like pianos and guitars and whatnot. So it was a little interesting for that. And it's kind of just kept flowing with the drum beat and the bass line going throughout it. So, and they flow. I don't have any whatever. Passes by. Passes By is a song definitely is about time, where it's just kind of simply about the way time passes, and that there are times when you're just like, yeah, I wish time would just go faster, or things would hurry up. And then there's other times when you think, oh man, like time's going by like way too fast. I want things to slow down so I can enjoy it. That kind of thing. It's simple concept. Also, a lot of the tones in it, I noticed that I picked for instruments. I was picking just weird things that I wouldn't normally use, or hadn't really used much at the time, to give it a different sound. I really like whatever the kind of metal-y thing is. I guess I don't know which instrument specifically that one was in there, but I kind of like the way that fit in with this. And again, they're not really like conscious choices of like this instrument is going to be great for this. More so just like this sounds kind of neat as an instrument by itself, and I want to use this because I haven't really used it much at all in my music, and just kind of putting those together. So it's a weird way to decide that, but sometimes you get some interesting results when you make weird choices like that. We just don't understand. Understand is some more of that old Sam philosophy for you. This idea that basically we don't really understand things. We're told stuff, and we're told that those things are correct and true, but we don't really know that, right? Like, how do we really know that? That's kind of the thing that it's getting at here. And I don't know. It's pretty much just about that, and the singing is okay in this one. I try to do some different notes, and they're okay. There's just this one part when I'm singing "We Don't Know a Thing," and it's kind of like multiple of those. Is like, I'm like, "We don't know a thing." Like, I don't know. It sounds weird, nasally thing. Like, I think there was like stuff like kind of in the back of my throat or something. Like stuff kind of like blocked my nasal passages. The air wasn't passing through there the entire time, so it sounded kind of weird for a few of those takes. And remember that bothering me at the time, even. So now when I'm listening to it, I always hear that. But yeah, the idea is just, it's a simple idea that we've seen me talk. Like I've sung about this stuff like this, I think, quite a bit. So it's something that you're gonna get very used to with my style, I guess. And that's also what you get when I, record a bunch of these, really close together. Some of these coming out in the same goddamn month. What are you gonna do? Some of the stuff's gonna be kind of similar. What Was Left is another instrumental song. And the riff is one I've had for, like, I kind of played it a bit for a while. I think I've incorporated it into a few things before, but this might be the only thing remaining that still has it. I guess as time goes on, we will see here, but I know it just kind of sounded cool with the violins and like the cellos, I think, are in there, like doing stuff. It has a pretty powerful like ending to this short little thing, because it really is mostly just playing off of that one main riff. So there's not a whole lot of significance to it, title wise or like meaning wise. It was a neat name for something that I thought sounded cool. So as a bonus bit here, this light keeps flickering. I don't know why. I don't know if it's flickering enough to tell on there, but I can tell with my eyes that it is. So hopefully this doesn't, like, break. Because, I mean, technical difficulties is something that I've been having in about the albums lately. Just throughout it, I feel like I've been having it. It's got to be the problem with the lights, or the microphone, or the framing, or the shot gets weird. Like I've had the microphone mysteriously just not work well, just out of nowhere when nothing should have changed. I had the camera shoot a different exposure when it shouldn't, because I didn't touch anything on that, and I've had a light just fall over on me and get weird already. So, we're just kind of rolling with those punches. I say goodbye. Goodbye, my city. Goodbye, My City is kind of about, I mean, it's, when you listen to it, you can kind of hear it, I guess, but it's about just this city that was, really proud and prosperous, and then over time it just kind of, they left, things kind of went to shit, people got killed, I don't know. It just kind of slowly became this abandoned ghost town ruin of a place. But interestingly, the way I thought of this, and I can kind of tell by the way I remember this too, but I can kind of tell by the way I'm singing it and the feeling of it. It was about, not really like a modern type of city, but more so like a little more ancient kind of city. So there probably wasn't, the same kind of like technology or anything there, or like pollution or anything. So, and I think the only reason I'm bringing that up is because of the line that it's under constant cloud. And I think I don't know if that's even necessarily, supposed to be some kind of anomaly that's like a real thing, or like a metaphorical cloud. But it wasn't supposed to be like pollution or something. And I think it's also reinforced by the idea of like there's no one left within these walls, as if it was like, an old Asian city where you had gigantic walls around your city, so people wouldn't just get into them. because that was his level of sophistication at the time. So that's goodbye, my city. It's just kind of like just saying goodbye. I don't know if it necessarily means the perspective of the one singing is dying, or if they're just leaving. But regardless, they're saying goodbye to their city. No one gets away from time. No one gets away from time. No One Gets Away from Time is another song about time. Like I said, I was kind of maybe a little obsessed about this idea of like is time like, because time is a thing we sort of made up, is another thing that gets kind of introduced here, right? There's still a thing of like you can have too much time, sometimes there's not enough time, eventually after so much time you will be dead. But it's also really introducing this new concept also, I think, of, I mentioned time as an illusion, which is just the idea that we've created the concept of time. It's not necessarily a universal thing. There's probably other ways you could calculate something like time. There's probably some deeper philosophical thing that I can't really wrap my head around of like, does time really exist, sort of thing. It's tough, but it's, this is a lot of weird, like, that kind of philosophy stuff in there. And I think a lot of that still was kind of, again, stemming from a lot of unresolved issues of thinking about, like, what is the point of life and existence, and what is existence? Can you prove existence of things? Like, I don't know, there's a lot of that kind of stuff that bangs around in your head. And so this is sort of some of that, some of the results of that. And it's just for some reason, time became a fascination. Plus, I don't know, like, this one is kind of neat. Just there's not really much for, like, it's not really like any drums in it either, again, so that's kind of neat too. It's just interesting, like, tones in there, and I think I didn't really, like, necessarily plan strictly, like, the beat of, like, what I was singing. Like, I think I had the words written down, but I didn't really plan, like, the beat of what I was singing or, like, the specific notes. I just kind of felt it out, and I definitely feel like, and I can even hear it too, that, like, I just really kind of was in tune with, like, how I wanted to sing this, and, like, how I just kind of went with it. I felt it and just let it happen as it naturally should have, and I think that works well with me. I think a lot of times when I just, like, you'll see, like, the way I'm recording a lot of these and everything too, right? I'm kind of like part of that style of, like, all right, I have an idea, I understand what I want to do, but I want it to be, like, genuine and flow the way I want it to naturally, and so it's like hit record and go, and just go where it takes you, and that's how I've been on YouTube for 10 years, and I'm still a no one, but I'm having fun with it, so it's good. Lord Barbarius is one that I've used, I think, for some background music a few times. It's a nice instrumental one for that. And it's, I don't know, just a cool, like, heavy, like, rocking one based on, like, using, like, that, those cool guitars and having, like, the cool, like, organs on it and stuff. I don't know, and having the bass go along with it. It's nothing, too crazy, but I just thought it came out really well, and I didn't really have a bunch of mistakes in it or anything. It just sounds pretty cool. And the name comes from a name I've used on a few things as, like, a character name or username. It originated as the name for my character when playing Champions of Norath, Realms of EverQuest. I played that, and I played as a barbarian, and I named him Lord Barbarius. Or actually, I think I just named him Barbarius. It may have not been able to fit Lord in there, but I did that, and I believe that's where that started. I remember using it for things like RuneScape and League of Legends. I think it was my PSN when I had a PlayStation 3 and I was playing on there. It was my PSN name, which I'm sure that I think that account has since been deleted because they had problems with people hacking in. I didn't have any reason to access it anymore, so it's like they shut it down. And numerous other things, but that's usually a name I like to use. I think it's my Steam name also. The actual username thing for that or whatever. So it's one that I like to use for my name on places when my name and some variation of my actual name is taken. I usually will use something like that. So that's a fun little tidbit there. A lot of things for me are inspired by video games. So that's where we are. And that's Lord Barbarius, and it's pretty. It sounds cooler than the stuff about it. So that's still good. Learning a lesson is another short little piece that I've done on tapes and stuff before, and I've always liked. And so I remember doing this a number of times actually, just usually as a little bonus tracks or something way at the end of a tape. And I guess I thought it would make a good companion piece to the first song, have the bookends of the album like that. I just like it. It's a catchy thing. I never really knew how to turn it into a full song anyway. So I think it works well. It's just, as it is. But that's the album. What have we learned? It's weirdly not asking a whole lot of questions. It seems like the whole thing is a little more focused on like here's some instrumental stuff, here's stuff about like time, and I don't know. It's nothing too deep or crazy or anything. But I don't know. That's what you get when you kind of just throw the rest of the stuff together. Definitely a few of these I think were still better than maybe a few of the songs on The Pool of Creation. I mean, the idea that Cheesy made it onto there as one of the good ones is just beyond me. But, this, I didn't think this one was too bad. What do you think? So I've got all of the, I'm going to try to put the timestamps and links and everything in the description for the songs and the playlist for the album. So it'll be easier to navigate things, but hopefully this was interesting. People are liking these, they're enjoyable, and they're looking and sounding okay. You work with what you got, and unfortunately, you got me. But lucky for me, if you're watching up to this point, I've got you. And we'll have each other next time on About the Albums. The artwork for What Have We Learned hasn't really changed much for the remaster, because all I really did here was just retrace over it with the with the appropriate colors, and the only addition is that I put my name in the corner, so it's pretty much the same thing. It just looks a little sharper because I saved it not as a JPEG where it horribly compressed. It made it lose quality over time. And it's just a big thought bubble out in the middle of nowhere. And I tried to kind of stylize the question mark going around it like that a bit. But I don't know. I'm still kind of confused as to why I never actually capitalized have and we. Since usually I feel like I capitalize too many things. It's usually my thing. So the idea that I, would have not capitalized those words in this title just kind of baffles me. But what can you do? We don't